video, I will be making black walnut pound cake from In Pursuit of Flavor by Edna Lewis, published in 1988. I've made a few videos from her older work, The Taste of Country Cooking, like the purple plum tart and chicken with dumplings, so check those out if you're a fan of her recipes. But this is the book that I recommend people start with to learn American rustic country cooking. It's more accessible and has plenty of recipes that range from very simple to more complex, whereas The Taste of Country Cooking is almost half autobiography and is not organized intuitively for a modern home cook. This recipe for pound cake is one of my absolute favorites as it comes out very soft and moist, and the black walnuts really impart a rather unique flavor into the cake as they cook. If you haven't cooked with nuts too often, most of them sweat and sort of send out nutty flavored vapors, and when they're inside of a batter like this, it really infuses the batter with that flavor in such a good way. So if you're interested in getting into cooking American country comfort food, then this is the book I recommend you start with. Here is the setup for our black walnut pound cake. It's pretty simple. Sugar, flour, eggs, butter, vanilla extract. There'll be some salt involved, and then black walnuts. If you are unfamiliar, black walnuts are different than regular walnuts, which are English walnuts. I believe black walnuts are a North American species and they tend to have a stronger flavor. So this is definitely, if you can't find black walnuts in your grocery store, mine does sell them, but not all of them do. I'll put a link in the description on where you can buy some online so that you can make this recipe authentically. So with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and hop over to the stand mixer. All right, this is much easier to do with softened butter, so if you have time, go ahead and let that butter soften up to room temperature. I went ahead and chopped it up and put it in the bowl, and now we're just gonna get this to blend until it sort of takes on a waxy-like texture. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show you what that looks like. All right, our butter is whipped. You can see here, it sort of looks like a almost a semi-liquid here. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna add the sugar, and we're just gonna add it in little bits at a time. And so as it continues to blend the two together, I will just slowly sift it in. Okay, so you're supposed to beat these together until the mixture becomes white and fluffy, which is what this is right here. So you can see that. And I'm also gonna scrape down the sides here. So this gets good and mixed at the next step. All right, and the next step is actually to go ahead and put in one egg at a time. So, all right, our eggs have been beaten in one at a time. You can see it's a very liquidy batter at the moment. So now we're gonna take, you don't have to be exact, but we're gonna take about half of this flour and put it in. And a little more than that. That's probably about half. All right, and then we're just gonna mix again until it's fully incorporated. Okay. The first half of flour has been incorporated, so we're going to go ahead and put in our teaspoon of salt, as well as vanilla. I eyeball my vanilla, and I like to put in a lot of extra. So, all right, so we're going to give this a quick whirl, just to... And then we'll go ahead and add the rest of the flour. Get it all? Yep. Okay. All right, and then once again, we're gonna mix until it's fully incorporated. Okay, our batter is fully mixed together, so the last thing to do is put in our cup of black walnuts. And then we'll give it one last whirl just to incorporate the walnuts. And you can do that on the lowest setting. And then that's it. Then I'll meet you back at the table so we can fill the pan. Okay, we've got our mixture. This is a tube cake pan, and we're just gonna get this mixture, and it's greased, by the way, in the bottom, but not the sides. The recipe specifically says to not grease the sides, so only the bottom of the pan is greased. So, and we follow directions because that's the point of having a cookbook when you're not a professionally trained pastry chef. Filled up. If you ever happen to know, by the way, when we get any of these like oddball instructions that are, if you ever happen to know the culinary reason for that, I'm always interested to hear that and hear what you have to say in the comments, especially if you are a pastry chef or a professional chef. It's the wonderful thing about food is there's basically always something that you don't know, and there's something to learn out there. So anybody who tries to act like they know absolutely everything about everything is almost always a liar. All right, almost got it all out now. And we're gonna smooth this out once I get the last bit of it out. I will say, compared to other pound cake recipes, I've done quite a few pound cakes over the years, and this batter, for whatever reason, is definitely like lighter and fluffier than the other ones. So, all right, we're just gonna smooth this out a little bit. And obviously, with a very liquid batter like this, there ends up being some areas of the pan have more than others, so that's why we're going to try to smooth this out and get a relatively even layer going all the way around the ring so that we don't have a lopsided ring. The recipe does say, by the way, that you can make this with English walnuts if you can't or just don't want to try to track down black walnuts. It just says that the flavor will be different if you do. So, but it doesn't mean it's not good. It just means it won't be exactly the same. So, okay, this is it. One quick note. We're going to bake this we're going to put this in a cold oven per the instructions and then set it to 275 Fahrenheit and bake that for about 25 to 35 minutes. And then at that point, we're then going to increase the temperature to 325 and continue baking for another 15 to 20 minutes. Definitely one of those recipes where you want to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to burn. So just make sure you're visually checking it from time to time. Okay, I just pulled our pound cake out of the oven and it looks good. It's nice and browned on top. And I'm going to let it cool in its pan here for a few minutes and then I'll unmold it and let it continue cooling to room temperature. So this looks good and I'll see you guys at the finale. And here is the completed black walnut pound cake that has cooled and unmolded from the pan. It came out really good. The browning is just the right level. The cake is still soft and moist without being dry. So if you want to try if you like pound cake, if you want to try one that's a little bit different with a different flavor than your typical white or yellow or butter pound cake, then give this one a shot. I think you'll really like it. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video.